Hello and welcome to Cooking with Allison from Lakin's Gorges Cheese here at East 40 Farm. And what we're going to be doing today is cooking some of our beautiful pork chops on the wood-fired grill. Now, word about our pork. Cheese produces curds and whey, which is how you end up with the cheese. The whey is actually quite nutritious, and so it can be fed to the pigs. So our pigs who are out pastured in the forest also get fed the whey, which makes it just a beautiful pork. But notice the color of this pork. If you think about what it looks like in the supermarket, it's very white. When pigs are out in the forest and moving around, we always like to say we have circus pigs around here, and then you end up actually with a redder meat. So that is why this is not a white pork, because these pigs are very active. Now, the pork chops that we have here are available frozen. We have them cut inch thick, and they come to a package. That's what the pork chops look like, and again, they do come frozen. Now, I'm cooking on a wood fire, and that sound you hear in the background is Neil running the sawmill. So we always have a good selection of wood available. If you're going to cook on a wood fire, you're not looking to atomize what you're cooking. So you're not going to be using just a bright, hot fire with a lot of flame. This has actually been cooking down for about 45 minutes now. So I started off with some nice big chunks of hardwood and have allowed that to cook down to coals. And I've got still a little bit of flame left. It's always a good idea when you are cooking with fire to have a set of tongs or something to be able to move your wood around. Like I want right now my coals to be pretty much centered in the middle with a little bit of the flame on the outside. And this is pretty hot. I'm probably a good foot off, and that is a nice hot fire. So, you take your grill, put it on the top there, and the first thing I want to do is just put a little bit of sear on the chops themselves. I will season them with some salt and pepper. So I have my handy little cup with the salt and pepper, and I've got a separate set of tongs in order to handle the chops with. So I'll just go ahead and put this straight down on the hottest part of the fire, just sear the inside, and I will go ahead and put a little bit more salt and pepper on this side as well. This actually doesn't take that long to cook, so we're going to cook them all cold about 6 to 8 minutes. But how do you judge that? Well, pork should really be cooked to 145 degrees, and it's an inexpensive and useful thing to have around the house is an instant read thermometer. Do let the pork chops come up to room temperature before putting it on the grill. There is a scientific reason for that, but I can't remember what it is. I'm starting to smell the pork. So, grab my set of tongs here. Okay, so see, I've got some grill marks on there. Ready to now move it over to the center part where the hottest part of the, or where the coals are, away from the hottest part of the grill. And I'm going to put the lid on to help retain that heat. And I'm also going to glance at my watch so I can keep an eye on, check the temperature at about 6 minutes. But the other thing we're going to add to this are some peaches. Now, it is May in Maine, so these are not local peaches. I saw that they were in stock, and this is such a great staple to have through the summertime. So you want to put use something like grapeseed oil, and just drizzle a little bit of that on top. Oops, or a lot of that on top, and put that right down onto the side of the grill. And how long these take depend on how hot the fire is and how thick they are. So you're basically cooking them until they're soft. But it's just a great accompaniment to grilled meats. So, put that lid on. if you have never been to the farm, we have the pigs. We also have cows. Our Jersey cows are out behind me now, grazing grass. We just got them out last week. In the wintertime, the cows are fed hay that we make from the fields of local neighbors, and so they really are grass-fed year-round. We do give our cows also an organic grain supplement so that they maintain a good balance of vitamins and minerals. And that by the end of this year, all of the milk for Lakin's Gorges cheese, it will be coming from our small herd of Jersey cows. Something I should mention about the fire, I just noticed it started smoking a lot. So I don't want to smother the fire, so I have the vents open because I do want to maintain some of the flame. So sometimes that might mean you need to not have the lid on fully. If you're using, this is a kettle style grill, so occasionally, as I just did, made the fire go out. Not out, but it's still nice and hot. Just need to take the lid off, give the air a chance to circulate again, and it will start getting hot again. That is something to pay attention to. This is not a put it and leave it kind of thing. It's an organic process. There, when you talk about slow cooking, even though it's only 6 to 8 minutes, you aren't going up to the microwave and pressing, cooked meat. This is watch the fire, smell the pork, and start to smell the peaches a little bit because they're hot. Here, it is very windy today. It does in fact feel quite a bit more like March or November than almost June today, that's for sure. So, I was mentioning before, it's always a good idea to have a way to be able to poke your wood, and it also means it's a good idea to have a way to lift up your grill and not have your food fall into the fire. So, I'm just going to jump things around here a little bit. Don't get cooled off too much. Now, I don't like to be poking at the pork chops, but one of the things that I'm sure you have learned as you cook meat, as it's heating up, you'll see the liquids coming up to the top. As that comes up, it's sort of giving you an indication that the chop is cooking all the way through. There we go. We've got fire again. And that can be an indication of the time when you need to turn it. So I'm going to put this lid back on, but not all the way. But when you're cooking over the fire, it slowly melts the fats in the meats. It just makes everything so much more tender. These pork chops are obviously a nice lean chop, but there's a good amount of fat on the edge there, so some of the sizzling, I don't know if you can hear it, is that fat starting to melt. Keeping an eye here at the time. And my watch has stopped. Okay, so we will look. See how much this has come up. So we're gonna go, and now it's flamed up a lot because, of course, that is flammable. We'll go ahead and turn those. Oh dear. So if you see this one versus this one's got a little charred. So we're going to move that to the side where it's a little bit cooler because the fire has decided to go into overdrive now. We're getting a nice char on those peaches. Move those a little bit closer to the fire too. And since I have the lid off and we're just checking on things, let's see what the temperature is. And of course, the more holes you poke into your meat, the more it is going to lose its moisture. So, poking holes in, not such a great thing. Okay, our chop there is at 124 degrees, so we want this a little bit more. And while while this is going on, you know, you can have your cheese plate handy and be nibbling on it. We do have a wonderful selection of the cow's milk cheeses here. The basket ricotta, Prix de Diane, which is a soft, creamy cheese. Medallion one is a small, just nice bites of also a soft cheese. The Opus 42, which is the best recognized of Lakin's Gorges cheeses. It's a semi-firm cheese that's slightly sharp, nutty, and buttery. It's a great pairs with everything kind of cheese. We've got the Cascadilla Blue, which is a milder blue. We have the Morgan, which is an aged cheese. I very often will use it in place of Parmesan in recipes, but it's like my 3 o'clock go-to cheese. So if my energy is flagging, I'll go get a piece of that, eat it, get perked right up. And then there's the Rockweed, which is a soft cheese that has a ribbon of powdered bladderwrack seaweed in the center. It's so good. It's creamy and kind of briny. It's a nifty little cheese. And then I've got some specialty cheeses that I make in smaller batches and seasonally. Okay. This fire really picked up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these pieces so they can soften up on the other side and give them a little bit more heat. I want to make sure I'm not overcooking. Let's stop. Place the fire. And then again. I like the soundtrack of the sawmill behind me. So if you haven't been to the farm, the sawmill, Neil can mill up to 36-foot long logs. He does custom milling, so if you're building a chicken coop or a timber frame house, he can mill the wood for you. And the wood does come from our woods. East 40 Farm is kind of in 2 sections. Well, actually, really, I guess 3 sections. So there's the homestead section, which is where the 1774 farmhouse is, and over into the hayfield where the cows graze. Then there's about in the 40 acres we have here, that represents about 15 acres, and then the rest of it is woods going down to Long Cove, which is right on the Medallic River. It is the most prolific clam spot on the Medallic. It's pretty exciting to go down there and see the clammers out there working. It is a working waterfront after all. So he is working on managing the forest sustainably. So there are some trees that are removed, but we're also, because we graze the pigs down there, we'll be grazing the cows down there, so we do have a silvopasture practice in place. And so as those trees come out, help manage the forest, they then get turned into lumber as well. So it's benefiting both sides. Okay, this chop is done. So I don't want it to cool off too much, so I'm going to move it to the coldest part of the fire, which hopefully is there. This one, however, is being slightly uncooperative. Oh dear. The smoke is really doing things. Oh wait. So be careful when you put the thermometer in that you don't put it against the bone. Okay, we are at 145 degrees, so this peaches may need a couple more minutes. Put this on the plate. So, two beautifully cooked, perfect temperature pork chops. And put the lid on here and cook those peaches the rest of the way. Be quick about this. Okay, so there we go. One absolutely beautifully, perfectly cooked. Oh my god. That's seriously good pork.